Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. This verse is like a comforting hug from God, telling us that he's always working for our good. No matter what happens, whether it's something good or something really hard, God is right there, making sure it all fits into his bigger plan. It's like he's taking all the pieces of our lives and putting them together in a way that's best for us, even if we can't see it right away. Sometimes life throws us curveballs, like when we face tough times or unexpected challenges. But the Bible reminds us that even in those moments, God is still in control and working things out for us. It's like he's turning our struggles into something beautiful, using them to teach us, strengthen us, and help us grow into better versions of ourselves. This verse also highlights the importance of our relationship with God. It tells us that those who love him can trust that he's always looking out for them. When we choose to follow God and love him with all our hearts, we can have confidence that he's guiding us and watching over us every step of the way. Even when we can't see how things will work out or understand why certain things happen, we are reassured that God has a plan and a purpose for everything. It's like he's weaving a tapestry of our lives, with every thread representing a moment, a decision, or an experience, and in the end, when we look back, we'll see how it all came together perfectly, creating a beautiful masterpiece. So, whenever we feel worried or uncertain about the future, we can hold on to Romans 8:28 as a promise from God. It's a reminder that no matter what happens, he's with us, he's for us, and he's working all things together for our good.
Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. This is wise advice straight from the Bible. It tells us not to rely only on what we think we know, but to trust in God with all our hearts. Imagine if you had a best friend who knew everything and always had your back. That's the kind of trust we're talking about here. It's like saying, "Hey God, I trust you to guide me because you know what's best for me, even when I'm not sure what to do." Sometimes life can be confusing, and we might feel like we're stumbling around in the dark. But God reminds us that we don't have to figure everything out on our own. Instead, we can lean on God and his wisdom to help light our path and show us the way forward. It's like having a trusty GPS for life, God's positioning system, always guiding us in the right direction. When we trust in God and acknowledge him in everything we do, it's like inviting him to be a part of our lives. We're saying, "God, I want you to be involved in every aspect of my life, not just the big stuff." And in return, God promises to direct our paths. He'll steer us away from danger, lead us towards opportunities, and help us make decisions that align with his plan for us. So, the next time you're feeling lost or unsure, remember Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Trust in God wholeheartedly, lean on his wisdom, and invite him into your life. With God as our guide, we can navigate life's twists and turns with confidence, knowing that he's always there to lead us on the right path.
Matthew 6:33. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. This verse is like a friendly reminder from Jesus about what's really important in life. He tells us to seek God's kingdom first and his way of doing things. It's like saying, "Hey, instead of worrying so much about stuff like food and clothes, focus on living in a way that makes God happy." Imagine if you had a to-do list, and at the very top was seek God's kingdom. That's what Jesus is telling us to prioritize. It means making choices and living our lives in a way that shows we care about what God wants for us. When we do that, Jesus says that everything else like food, clothes, and all the other things we need will be taken care of. So, what does it mean to seek God's kingdom? Well, it's about living by God's rules and showing love to others. It's about treating people the way we want to be treated and doing what's right, even when it's hard. When we focus on God's kingdom and his way of doing things, it's like we're building a strong foundation for our lives. A foundation that can withstand anything that comes our way. Jesus isn't saying we shouldn't care about our needs or plan for the future. He knows we need food to eat and clothes to wear. But he's saying that when we put God first, he'll take care of us and make sure we have everything we need. So, instead of stressing out about all the little things, we can trust that God's got our back and focus on what really matters. Loving God and loving others.
1 Corinthians 16 verse 14. Do everything in love. This verse gives us a simple but powerful message: do everything with love. It's like a gentle nudge from the Bible, reminding us that love should be at the heart of everything we do. Whether we're talking to someone, working on a project, or just going about our day, love should be our guiding principle. So, what does it mean to do everything with love? Well, it's about more than just saying "I love you" to the people in our lives. It's about showing love through our actions, being kind, patient, and understanding towards others. It's about treating people with respect and compassion, even when we don't agree with them or they've hurt us in some way. Sometimes it can be hard to show love, especially when we're feeling tired, stressed, or frustrated. But the Apostle Paul reminds us that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice we make every day. It's about choosing to put others first, to listen instead of speak, and to forgive instead of holding on to grudges. When we do everything with love, it not only benefits those around us, but it also brings us closer to God. After all, God is love, and when we show love to others, we're reflecting His character and living out His will for our lives. So, let's strive to make love the driving force behind everything we do, knowing that it's the most powerful force in the universe.
Psalm 46 verse 10. Be still, and know that I am God. This verse is like a soothing whisper from God, telling us to slow down and take a breath. It reminds us that in the midst of our busy lives, we can find peace and comfort by simply being still and acknowledging God's presence. Being still doesn't mean just sitting quietly with our eyes closed. It's more about quieting our minds and hearts, letting go of our worries and anxieties, and opening ourselves up to God's love and guidance. It's like finding a calm oasis in the middle of a storm, where we can rest and recharge our spirits. When we take the time to be still and know that God is with us, it's like we're tuning in to a frequency where we can hear His voice more clearly. We become more aware of His presence in our lives, and we can feel His peace washing over us, calming our fears and soothing our souls. This verse also reminds us of God's power and sovereignty. It's a reassurance that no matter what challenges we face or how chaotic the world may seem, God is in control. When we trust in Him and acknowledge His greatness, we can find strength and courage to face whatever comes our way. So, the next time life feels overwhelming or stressful, remember Psalm 46:10. Take a moment to be still, to quiet your mind and heart, and to acknowledge God's presence. And in that stillness, you'll find peace, comfort, and a renewed sense of strength to carry you through.
Galatians 5:20-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. These verses talk about something called the fruit of the Spirit. It's like a list of good qualities that grow in our lives when we let God work in us. Imagine if you planted a seed in a garden, and it grew into a beautiful tree with lots of delicious fruit. That's kind of what happens in our lives when we let God's Spirit work in us. We start to see these good qualities growing inside of us. The passage mentions 9 different qualities: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are all things that God wants us to have in our lives. They're like the building blocks of a happy and healthy life, both for ourselves and for the people around us. When we have these qualities in our lives, it's like evidence that God's Spirit is at work in us. It's like a sign that shows we're connected to God and His love. And when we show love, joy, and kindness to others, it's like sharing a little piece of God's love with them. So, when we read Galatians 5:20-23, we're reminded that God wants us to have these qualities in our lives. And the good news is that we don't have to try to grow them on our own. God's Spirit helps us. All we have to do is let Him work in us and be open to His guidance and power.
Psalm 34 verse 19. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. This verse means that good people will face many problems. It reminds us that even if we try to do the right things, we can still have hard times. Life can be tough for everyone, even those who follow God. The second part of the verse gives hope. It tells us that God will help and save those good people from their troubles. This help might not come right away or in the way we expect, but God is always there to support us. It shows that God is faithful and always ready to help us through our problems. This verse encourages people to keep their faith strong during difficult times. Knowing that God promises to help can give us strength to keep going. It reminds us that our struggles are not ignored by God, and He is working to help us. Psalm 34 verse 19 also teaches us to trust in God's timing. Help might come in different ways, sometimes in ways we don't expect. We need to be patient and trust that God's plan is for our good, even if we don't see it right away. Lastly, this verse reminds us that everyone faces problems and that God helps us all. It encourages us to support each other, knowing that we all go through hard times. By helping each other, we can find comfort and strength together, trusting in God's promise to deliver us.